Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Informal back with a new Mr. Informal podcast. This is the Mr. Informal podcast 217. 217. I cannot believe that we are on that edition. And so I hope you are healthy today. I hope you are doing well. I hope you are enjoying time. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever you are in the world. So first and foremost, please do not forget to add me on Instagram at MrInformal, and then check out my website mrinformal.com, MrInformal.com. So what do we have for this Mr. Informal podcast 217? Well, number one, Reddit versus Discord. Reddit is trying to become Discord. Number two, resale footprint. Really, well, so what's the cause of reselling items in terms of environmental impact? Number three, Amazon authenticity. Basically, Amazon is making sure that they sell authentic goods. Last but not least, new Tom Ford. Could you believe that? Tom Ford himself is not going to be the CEO and the creative director of the Tom Ford clothing brand. Wow, what a time to be alive. So those are the four topics for this Mr. Informal podcast 217. And so let's go ahead and start the podcast. On the first topic from social media today, titled Reddit tests new community chat element to encourage user participation. Basically, it's like Discord. So, Reddit testing out another user engagement option with chat channels being added to selected subreddits, which will enable community members to strike up real-time topical chats. I mean, isn't that what Yahoo Chat used to be? So, Reddit actually launched virtual exact same thing back in 2018 with chat rooms, which also enable users engage in real time, back and forth discussion with other members. Reddit says that it's using learnings from its past chat experience to improve this option because the previous one was shut down 2020 due to lack of use. That means building with mods in mind, tooling management from the ground up. Mods even get dedicated mod only channel to talk mod things among fellow mods. Okay, though really does sound like much the same when you consider Reddit tried out audio chat as well. Yes, I love audio chats. It seems like Reddit is really trying to shoehorn another engagement option in the app despite past usage stats suggesting that its audience probably doesn't want it. So look, Reddit is trying to engage users more. Basically telling users, hey, you're not going to do anything outside the world. You're not going to go do anything outside. You're not gonna go try. You're just gonna stay home, or you're gonna sit down and just be on Reddit all day, all night. I mean, think about it. They're trying to pull up a Twitch. I wouldn't say Twitch, but more of a Discord. Basically, Discord competition. I mean, to me, Discord is just an added to. Imagine if Reddit bought Discord. Basically, it's just the same thing. But in this case, you have a forum, which is Reddit, message boards, or community messages. And then you want to speak real time, or who's ever on, well, then let's talk about it. That's what Discord is. I mean, Twitch does it in a different way, but it's very similar where who's ever streaming, that's the topic. Or if you have a podcast, well, that will be your topic. That will be community engagement. I mean, this time they want it on the app. Why not in the website? What's wrong with the website? But all in all, we're moving back to chat rooms again. Reminds me of the early 2000s where there was no rules for the internet. That was actually the golden time of the internet. But look, Reddit is run by a lot of people that I don't consider to be to have freedom or to have free speech. So that's why I'm not there on a lot. On to topic number 2 from retail.com. How good is secondhand apparel for the planet? Really? Consumers and brands embracing resale as a way to address fashion's poor environmental track record, but maybe it's a little too late. Yes, it is a little too late. I have been explaining this for so long in this podcast. If you really want to be sustainable, have less footprint, just buy 100% cotton, 100% hemp, 100% linen. Any plant-based fibers would be biodegradable instead of having blended fabrics. So there are few industries as wasteful as a fashion business, in part because the very premise of its pitch to the consumers is newness, just like Shein. In the US, each year some 11.3 million tons of textiles waste, or 85% of all textiles, are sent to landfills according to earth.org. I didn't even know that website existed. It doesn't help that the number of times a garment is worn has declined by nearly 40% since 2007. Look, I have not bought jeans in the last 4 years. Selling used clothing instead of throwing it away is a solution that appeals to many brands consumers alike. But the problem is, how much impact does it really do? So consumers do see buying used items as environmentally friendly, and brands from H&M to Lululemon tout the resale progress is key to their sustainability goals. In its report, ThreadUp, which also runs a service for other brands, has encouraging claims about resale's potential boom to the environment. So, if every consumer this year bought just one second-hand garment instead of a new one, it would lower CO2 emissions by more than 2 billion pounds, equal to taking 76 million cars off the road per day, save 23 billions of gallons of water, and 4 billion kilowatt of energy, according to ThreadUp report. That's interesting. I'm not sure about that. I mean, not everybody has the money to buy used stuff. Let's be honest. If you're talking vintage can also cost as much as a new item. So, yeah, that report needs to have some certain details. But for the most part, I do see a reason why people should buy used items. You should also tell the retailers out there that don't buy too much quantity. Don't buy too much of it and put it in stores like how Forever 21 used to be. Cotton On is doing that right now. Too much clothes in one sales floor. But honestly, for fashion to make an impact, I honestly think that consumers need to be mindful as to what they are buying. Meaning, like I said, when it comes to my shirts, I only buy 100% cotton shirts because it can be recyclable. It also biodegradable because it's just cotton. When it comes to my shorts or jeans, I like to buy everything 100%. That's just me. So that would be my takeaway from this article. Is it really depends. I think the reporting does need to do more, but in general consensus, if you're just talking about in general terms, I do see why reselling would create an impact in terms of carbon footprint in the fashion industry. On to topic number 3 from retail.com. Amazon targets counterfeits with new information sharing exchange. So Amazon unveiled a new information sharing platform Thursday aimed at helping retailers track counterfeits and stop sales of online fakes, dubbed Anti-Counterfeiting Exchange, or ACX. The e-commerce giant described the platform as an industry collaboration designed to make it more difficult for counterfeiters to move among different stores to attempt to sell their counterfeit goods. Amazon said it has already found hundreds of instances through ACX where the same counterfeit tried to create accounts on Amazon and at least one other store operator. This is good, but I think that Amazon could even do much better. Counterfeit goods have long dogged Amazon and other online marketplaces which rely on a vast pool of sellers to procure products and sell goods through their own independent business. For years, a chorus of brands, large and small, voiced frustration against Amazon over proliferation of fakes, in some cases taking legal action. The American Apparel and Footwear Association even pushed for Amazon's platform to be listed by the U.S. Trade Representative as a notorious market for counterfeits. This is exactly what I mean. I think that Amazon needs to do more. It took this long for Amazon to even take actions. I mean, why can't they just hire people and get track of it? Why do they need AI? Oh, of course, it's less expensive. So Amazon says in press release, participants can identify and stop perpetrators more quickly than they would in the absence of this collaborative data sharing. Well, duh. So what do I think of this? I think that, again, Amazon needs to do more. Instead of laying off people, maybe you should hire more people to investigate regarding these counterfeit goods. Also, maybe you need to ask buyers that what they receive is authentic, and if it's not, then it needs to be reported, or some kind of survey or some kind of questionnaire that they can fill out and saying, hey, this is fake. Things like that, not just collaborative data sharing. I mean, seriously, do you really need to hire these data analysts, these data translators to make use of this so-called data sharing? I don't even think it's data sharing. I think Amazon is just trying to create an AI for these so they don't have to pay up other people, other employees. Instead, they go on a employee firing spree, laying off people, whatever you want to call it. But this is not going to stop counterfeits. It's pretty obvious that counterfeits is that good these days. You can't even tell. The only best way is just that go to the store, or maybe just buy it from Amazon.com. Maybe Amazon should stock up on these things instead of buying from these so-called businesses out there. I mean, Amazon just needs to be much more smarter than this. It's pretty obvious that they're not gonna catch all of them like Pokemon. But whatever these things called ACX, I actually think that this is gonna fail. They're probably gonna rename it something else, and then sooner or later they're probably gonna replace it with some AI stuff, just like what's happening these days. Article from hypebeast.com. Tom Ford names new creative director and CEO. After releasing his final collection at the helm of his namesake label this week, Tom Ford has announced his successor, now owned by Estee Lauder, for a whopping $2.8 billion. Wow. A newly appointed president CEO, Guillaume Giselle, and creative director Peter Hawkins. Both Giselle and Hawkins have worked with Tom Ford brand for quite some time. Giselle was the global president of Tom Ford Beauty for under a decade prior to his promotion to the flagship brand CEO. Hawkins, meanwhile, worked alongside Tom Ford almost 25 years, serving as senior vice president of the brand's menswear division. So, according to the release, we will work together to ensure a consistent and cohesive image across all brands. Peter has been instrumental in the success of the brand. He is an incredibly talented leader with tremendous industry experience. Honestly, I'm not really too sure about this. You got, Giselle coming from the brand's makeup or beauty products, while the other one is coming from the menswear division. But what about women's? I mean, let's be honest. Yeah, he's been there for 25 years, but has Tom Ford really changed much in those 25 years? Let's think about that for a second. Not really. I mean, look, anytime you have a new leadership, it's always going to be different. It cannot be the same. I mean, unless this person has the same taste, the same style, 90% of the style that Tom Ford has, sure. But it's pretty obvious that it's gonna change. So we'll see how this goes. But you know what? Shout out to Tom Ford for, I guess, being a billionaire or millionaire, whatever you want to call it. Either way, he's probably gonna retire. He's probably gonna do part-time. He's probably going to be an advisor or a consultant or whatever he has to do to keep himself busy. But certainly the name himself, Tom Ford, is not gonna change. He's always gonna have that name, that brand under his name. It's pretty obvious that is his name. But himself, it creates a lot of lasting legacy, certainly, because Tom Ford is synonymous for designing for celebrities, also high-end wear, luxury wear, I guess you could say. He's also famous for his cologne too and perfume. Not gonna lie, his cologne are really, really great smelling, and also they last long. You know, celebrities love his name. His brand name is all over the place. Pop, rap, EDM. I mean, everywhere. I mean, his name is known around the world. It doesn't have to be Paris. It doesn't have to be Rome. It doesn't have to be England. I mean, it doesn't even have to be Singapore. All I'm telling you is this man has influenced and affected a lot of brands out there, especially in the celebrity world. Certainly, again, Tom Ford is probably gonna take a break, but after a few years, my guess is he's gonna come back as an advisor or a consultant. There's no way this man's just gonna sit around and not do anything. And so that basically concludes this Mr. Informal podcast 217. I hope you enjoy this edition of the Mr. Informal podcast from beginning to end. If you did, I really do appreciate it. Hopefully I gave you some news that are new to you and gave you some insights too. And again, please do not forget to add me on Instagram, MISTERINFORMAL, and then check out my website, mrinformal.com, MRINFORMAL.com. And so I hope you are healthy, you stay healthy. I hope you are enjoying life wherever you are in the world. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. And so I will see you in the next podcast. Bye-bye.